Welcome back to the channel. We're in the garage again, and I know it's summertime still, technically, but if you watched last week's video, you know that we're going down to Cave River Campground in about a month. And I'm always looking for something to increase my comfort as I'm going down the road. And while we were up in Sturgis, we got some of those for one extra spot to put my feet while I'm going down the road, as if I don't have enough already. But you know, if you guys ride long distances, you know as well as I do that the more places you can put your foot, the better. These aren't super difficult to install, so we're going to do an install today, but I also kind of want to go over the benefits of this mount as opposed to like a normal highway mount. And I'll show you that at the end of the video and kind of give you an idea for people like me that might have a little bit of a shorter leg. I wear a 32 jean inseam, but let's be honest here, I'm overcompensating just a little bit. And as always guys, I'll have a link to the highway peg mounts in the description, and also the foot pegs that I'm using, which is actually a mini footboard, which you'll see here in a little bit. Enough of me blabbing, let's throw these things on and I'll show you kind of where you can put your foot, what you can do with them, and how easy they are to install. Basically, you're going to take off this bolt and this bolt and this bolt. And the mount's going to replace this front mount. The rear mount stays where it's at. So it's going to mount right here and then just kind of come up in this area. This top one has a nut on the back side of it, so you can spin this all day long, and if you don't put a wrench on that nut, it ain't coming loose. You're going to reuse this one, so just kind of set it aside. So here's what the mount looks like. Pretty heavy duty, and it's powder coated. It's got a nice gloss powder coat on it, so yeah. Alright, this mounts like that. The pivot pin's going to go in there. So we're going to put that in first. You could probably put a little grease on that if you wanted to, but I never lower and raise my footboards ever. So it doesn't really need grease, so but you can put some on if you want to. So it says to torque it to 60 to 80 inch-pounds. I don't have an inch-pound torque wrench, so I am not going to grease it, but I am going to put a little blue Loctite on it, which is medium strength, and you don't have to have heat or anything to get it off. It'll just wrench off. It just holds it in place, keeps it from rattling loose. If you own a Harley, you know what I'm talking about. This stuff isn't going to hold all that great because it expired in 2017. So it's a little over 3 years old, but it'll work. Then all we got to do is put our bolt that we set aside back in place in the upper hole once again. Just a little bit of Loctite. I should note that the instructions don't call out for Loctite. That's a Blacktop Devil thing. That's just a good habit to get into. So the instructions say to put this in and then torque it, but whenever I have multiple bolts in one movable piece, I like to put them both in, get them both started, and then you can tighten one. That way you don't have to fight it and end up cross-threading it when you're putting it in. So Ciro sends these, this is a pretty bolt. We call it a pretty bolt. Torque them to 36 to 42 foot-pounds. All I have is this giant torque wrench that I stole from my father. Just kidding, Dad. You know where it's at. That's basically it for the main mount. Then we'll put the clevis mount on here, and you'll get an idea of how it works. This arm mounts on like this. Well, the lighting's not the greatest, but that just mounts together with this bolt, which I am not going to put Loctite on this bolt because this is going to need to be adjusted depending on where you want your foot. And then I'm just going to thread this in finger tight, and then we'll figure out where to put it adjustment wise later. So I don't know if you guys can see that. There's a little cutout in there, and then this has a little nipple on it. They just mate together. Like, yay. So you can see how this is giving me a little bit different foot position than my normal highway pegs. I may end up keeping these on. We'll see. We'll see how I like all my foot positions here and what I can do with it. So I mean, as far as installing this, that's it. So I've got these on, but they're loose. I'm going to go ahead and throw my mini footboard on here, and then we'll kind of halfway adjust everything to where we need it. These footrests are Ciro's footrests, and I think they're going to look really good with it. I like that they're all black. Those are all, you can get these in black or chrome. I chose black because obviously I like black. But yeah, I think that looks good together. And I chose this because although this is nice, I would like a little more area for my foot. And this kind of fits the bill. It's not super huge, so it's not going to look all crazy big on there. But it's not also not so small that it hurts my foot when it's kind of resting on there. Well, as far as these, they just install in there with, it's really hard to do with one hand, but you put the little D spring in there, and then you'll end up putting this in there, and make sure you put this in the right way, so it's not like that, because that's wrong. Oh, let's see if I can focus it. This is wrong. If you're leaning and you're turning and you're leaning over and you hit your footboard here, this isn't gonna give. It needs to be like that. So if if you end up hitting the concrete, this can at least flip up as it drags. For some reason my right one isn't as scratched up as my other one. I should show you my other one. But yeah, just make sure you put this on the right way, because if you put it on like that, it's not going to give and it's just going to dig in. That being said, these don't affect your lean angle, according to Ciro's website and a couple other people I've asked. So if you're worried about carving corners and stuff and these hitting, they're not going to hit any sooner than anything else would. And they're designed that way. I'm going to test it out. We'll see if I can scratch this up. I'm going to try. Kind of goes in like that. So there is a torque spec on that, and it is 25 to 35. I'm just actually going to snug it up really good. It'll be fine. So now you can see there's that little detent in there. Again, these have the little teeth on them. So that would tell us we're not going to Loctite this one, because that's an adjustment. I know that's not the greatest shot, but you're just going to kind of get this somewhat eyeballed to where you want it, and then once you're able to like sit on the bike, then you can kind of tell, okay, I need to do this with it, I need to do that with it. So I just got that a little bit snug, and what my plan is once I get the other side put on, then I'll kind of sit on it and put my feet wherever. That's pretty much the install. I'm going to do the other side real quick, and then we'll go through like how to adjust it and kind of how it fits me as a short-legged rider. So I'm laying here on the floor, and I got the other mount on the left side of the bike, and I wanted to show you guys something. If you notice, here's my Jiffy stand, kickstand. I know they're different, whatever. This is the mounting plate for my Jiffy stand, and that's the bolt you have to take out, as well as that one. The only other bolts in it are this one and this one. So the reason I bring that up is because it was sitting here leaned over on the Jiffy stand, and I was taking those bolts out, and I thought, it's a lot of weight on that Jiffy stand if I loosen the bottom side of that plate. So it doesn't actually say it in the Ciro instructions to lift the bike up, but I actually put my motorcycle jack under, took the pressure off the Jiffy stand, and then did it. But it's probably okay since it's not in the instructions, but we all know sometimes things get missed. All right, so you can kind of see where I've got my foot. This one's pretty high compared to my other side that I have really low, which is too low. But I would say first you need to adjust the height as far as where you want your foot to set. There's multiple ways you can put your foot. So you're riding like that, you're riding like that, you kick it up like that. You know, with the lower, you don't have a whole lot of area to put And these are the HD 360 mounts, so there's not a lot of places to angle that arm. So they're kind of stuck in that one spot. I might be able to go up a little higher if I want to keep them. But for a stubby leg rider like myself, that's about perfect. I can rest my heel on that. And I'm actually really happy where this one is right now. So I might lower it just a hair. So to lower it, you would just loosen that a little bit. And there's those notches. See how it just kind of went down one notch? Just kind of snug it up so it doesn't come out of that notch again. Then you can put your foot up. See if it's comfortable. That's actually pretty comfortable. So once you get your height figured out, then you can loosen this bolt back here and adjust your angle. So that's a good angle for the bottom of my foot. It's not, you know, kicked out too far this way, or it's not too far down that way. I think I'm gonna leave it there. Then the hardest part is trying to get the other one matched to this one by feel. You can use a tape measure, or you can click, you know, you can count the clicks on the back side there and see, you know, where you're at. But it'll take a little trial and error to get it probably perfect. But that's how you do it. You just those two little adjustments there, and then once you find your spot that you want your foot, then just tighten them up and you're good to go. The last adjustment is going to be what foot angle you have. So mine was kind of sitting like that. So I'm actually going to make it a little more flat with that, and I'll just ride it around like that for a while and see how I like it. If I need to do it, adjustments right down in here for this one. Get it kind of snug. You don't want it falling off on the highway. Alright, now that you guys have seen how they work and all the adjustments, I'll leave it at that, and I'll see you in the next video.